It's 13 minutes gone past 5. Welcome back to the show. It's Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Constance Mega. And at this time, we'll be talking about the role of tertiary institutions in ensuring the academic success of students. And this topic is premised on a news report that some university students say that poor teaching skills of some lecturers are responsible for most poor performances during examinations. Well, this actually followed reports that the management of a tertiary institution in Rivers State withdrew the admissions of over 1,000 students in 300 and 400 levels whose cumulative grade point average, that's the CGPA, were below 1.50. And they also placed 200 level students with the same CGPA on probation for 2 semesters. Well, in an interview with our correspondent, some of the students blamed peer pressure, non-academic activities, and lack of focus. Well, let's listen to them.
Most students in their year one, they are very carried away. They feel they have more opportunity to do things they can't do at home.
Sometimes you will see a student who have class to attend to. They would prefer the aluta meetings. Some of them go to dance rehearsals. Some are too churchy.
The lecturers, they're also responsible for it because most times a lecturer will not enter class from day one till maybe when it's time to write exam or test. How do you think the student will pass such exams? And how do you think their CGP will rise up?
I think peer pressure can be responsible. If you come to school and you have this friend that always not coming for lecture, you want to follow because of their carefree attitude, and you're missing a lot because from your year one, that is when you can actually get your CGPA to be very high.
All right, joining me for this conversation right now is Dr. Ben Nyewusira. He is a lecturer in the Department of Educational Foundations, University of Port Harcourt. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good evening. All
right. So for you, the question I have for you is, how should tertiary institutions help students who are struggling academically? What do you think they should do? And how should they go about that? Get on Facebook, drop a comment. Would like to read from you. The Facebook page is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. You can also send a message via WhatsApp to 0809 030 6416. All right. So to you now, Dr. Ben, what do you believe are the primary responsibilities of tertiary institutions in ensuring the academic success of students?
Okay. Let me begin with me.
All right.
Okay, as an educationist and as a teacher, okay, well, what do I do, or what should I do, and what have I been doing as regards academic success of my students? Let me tell you, Constance, that as a professional, a thoroughbred educationist and a teacher that what he's sought, it's always very painful for me when a student fails, or a student does not achieve optimal academic success. As a matter of fact, some of us have lived with this philosophy that success without successor is failure. So if you succeed, or if you have succeeded as a teacher and your student doesn't succeed, invariably you failed.
Interesting.
Yeah. In fact, this philosophy has been here with us, particularly for those of us who are known to be the academic descendants of Professor J.D. Oko, who has retired now, one-time Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt. He happened to be my thesis supervisor, at the doctoral level. And for everyone who has passed through him, he will always tell you, as I'm grooming you, you groom others. Okay? And for us as teachers, we are training people not because, we want to make a living out of it alone. We are training people who should train our children. And that's the joy of it. You must train people who will replace you, people who will train your children and possibly your grandchildren. So if, you don't make them succeed, it means that at the long run, whether you are here or not, you are definitely going to reap from where you've sown. And that is why we're always passionate. I am always passionate about the need to put in my best to ensure that my students succeed. Very passionate about it. I can tell you sometimes, my wife is also in the academia. She also teaches.
Okay.
And so when we come back home, we discuss this, the travails. Like your son bite. For a student not to succeed, it's an interplay of factors. Okay, so it's not just that the teacher, we would dovetail eventually to that part of it. It's not just that the teacher is not doing his job. Some of them have told you that they don't come to class, peer group influence. In fact, there are people that we have come to brand as non-academic students.
Oh, interesting.
Honestly speaking, it will shock you. Yeah, they are around the school environment. They don't attend classes. And yeah, so they are non-academic students as far as we are concerned. Now, I was trying to tell you, how painful it could be sometime when
the student
fails. Well. And I had that personal experience. A few years ago, I was assistant director of a pre-degree program, in my establishment. And, we groomed them for a year, a kind of preliminary program. And so at the end of the year, they will be admitted and then they go into year one. Now, unfortunately, it's not every one of them, that will, after spending a year, after having in quote, the aroma of the university setting, and then they fail. And then there was this very particular case. The benchmark, because you needed to do JAMB, in addition to this internal program. And then you are required to get at least one minimum of 180. Back then, I think it's
lower
now. And then this student had 179.
Ouch.
And came to my office and was weeping. Constance, I broke down myself trying to console the student. I broke down, honestly speaking. I was in tears throughout that day. Supper was not for me. All right. Why? Because I am passionate and I'm not alone in this. There are so many other professional teachers, like I said, those who are thoroughly groomed for this job. All right. Who share this sentiment that we must do everything to make sure that our students succeed.
So what are those things really? Because if the student is not coming forth, is not even letting you know, I need help.
Yeah.
So how do you help?
That's some of them may not be forthcoming. Some of them, like I said, are just absentee students. All right, and they don't share their problems. They don't come up to tell you, where the gaps are, where the lapses are, where they're finding it difficult. People get into the university environment. It's a different environment. A whole lot of distractions are there.
And then also there are people who have to fend for themselves. They're the ones paying their fees.
And all of that, they do that. So, like I said, a whole lot of things could, make them lose focus. Why? Even when they are in school. And so what we do when we identify students like that, we try as much as possible. On a personal note, we'll still come to what institutions do, maybe the policies and practices of some institutions, what they do to make sure that students are properly guided, for the purpose for which they are in the school. So what we do for those who, show up, we try as much as possible to give them counseling at your own time. You give them counseling. You try to find out what the problems are. You try to give them hope. You try to provide a compass for them as far as their academic journey in the school is concerned. So that is what, at a personal level, I do. And some of us who, like I said, in this bandwagon of teachers, I don't even see myself as a lecturer. I see myself as a teacher and a thorough breeder. As a matter of fact, I will always emphasize that. Reason being that there is no qualification in teaching that I don't have now as I speak to you. I did NC, okay,
Did you do TT?
TT was teachers training, okay?
Yes.
Oh, that was for our fathers and our mothers, But at my own age, because then maybe I think as at the time I was leaving secondary school, most teacher training colleges had folded up or had been scrapped, Yeah, but like I told you, passed through NCE, BE Ed, MEd, and then a PhD. And of course, I am registered. I'm a registered teacher with the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. All right? So, and that is why we are beginning to advocate that for everybody who is in the classroom, it doesn't matter whether you are in the Faculty of Education or whether in medicine or whether you are engineering, you have to come and pass through the pedagogy, fundamentals of teaching. That's how you can get it right. You may be brilliant, quite okay, but how to deliver, how to impact, how to ensure that you understand the challenges of your students. Is a different ball game. And if you've not passed through that training, that gap will be there. And I tell you, that gap is there because there are some persons who, in quote now, cannot be qualified as teachers.
All right.
Reason being that they've not passed through.
Let's go on a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue.
Okay.
Stay tuned, please.
Nigeria Info. Right back after this.
Back now. So yes, this is still Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info, and we're still talking about the roles of tertiary institutions in ensuring the academic success of students. And it was actually based off of a particular report that about 1,000 or more students have had their admissions withdrawn. Why? Because their CGPA is below the benchmark of 1.5. And well, of course, Dr. Ben Nyewusira is in the studio helping us understand how tertiary institutions can help students who are even struggling, to ensure that they come up to the level they ought to be academically. Well, we'll come back to this. Well, let's quickly take the headline news.
Headline.
Asking you, I need you to tell me what you think schools should do, tertiary institutions. How do you think they should help students who are struggling academically? All right, so Dr. Ben Nyewusira, let's talk about the support that students who are struggling academically can actually get from the school. You've talked about what a lecturer can actually do and what you have done so far. Yeah. But the school as a body that these kids or these people, because they're not all children, have come under to learn. So I'm in a school, I have to pay my fees, or perhaps I'm bereaved and something is happening, I'm struggling emotionally or whatever, and it's affecting my academics. How can the school ensure that I rise up, that I get motivated to go to start doing well academically and not get to the level where my admission is withdrawn? That would be devastating for a lot of people.
But from the onset, when students secure admission into the school, even before they get matriculated or directly after that, there is this orientation that every school will always have. It could be a university-wide orientation. In fact, sometimes they start from the department. And what are they telling them? They're telling them about how the academic journey is going to look like. All right? They're going to tell them, for example, be serious with your year one courses, because then the euphoria of being in the school. One of the students confessed to that the very first, and it happened to me when I was in school. As a matter of fact, each time I scanned through my transcript, the lowest CGPA I had was in year one, 4.9. I can't forget University of Ibadan rated scale of 7 points. So and that was it. Why? Because we came into the school, there was this euphoria, you've matriculated after sometimes, some of them after a long while and all of that. So what the universities do, or what the schools do, is that they give them an orientation to tell you, look, as you are coming in now, start on time. Because from day one, your CGPA, is the university system is not like the secondary school system where your WAEC will determine your result at the end of the day. No, from day one, your first semester is going to count. All the courses you do in your year one will count, and so it's not about what result you're going to having your final year. And that is why sometimes you see that students in their first year, because of this distraction of the university environment, they perform abysmally poor. And then they try to pick up. Before you know it, they lost ground in year one. Is now bringing down their CGPA. So what universities do is that they make sure that they are giving adequate orientation from the departmental level to the faculty level and university-wide level. Besides that, all universities have course advisors attached to students. And what is your course advisor? What do they do? They are, by the prescription of their duty, follow you up, chart up your results, tell you where your CGPA is likely going to be at the end of year one, so that if you needed to, up your ante in studies, you should do that.
These course advisors, I want to know, how do they function? Is it that they're going to call for the students?
The students know them, all right? They are at liberty to visit their course advisors, provided the time they agree, maybe Mondays or Wednesdays, just within the week. Because at the end of the day, as your results come in, the course advisors are going to chart your result. They're going to enter your result in the result chart, okay? And so they have first-hand information about your performance. And you're at liberty, to ask them to produce your sheet, your mark sheet, so that you can have a view of how you performed. And so at that point, the course advisor is going to, for those of them who have carryovers, they don't even know how to go about registering the courses they failed. It is the course advisor that will appropriately guide you. All right. Some of them would not know the difference between the core courses or the required courses and then the elective courses. So is the course advisor who is going to provide this insight to you. All right, to tell you that, look, if you are owing some courses, you have to graduate. You have to pass these courses before you must graduate. And for courses with higher credit units, if you don't do well, it's going to bring down your CGPA. Okay, so the course advisor is there. It's a matter of policy. All universities have course advisors, that these students, should work with to make sure that, they are appropriately guided. And beyond that, schools are meant to have counseling clinics or counseling centers. Okay. Right. For students who are having whether emotional problem or academic problem, schools are supposed to have counseling desk.
So here's what I want to actually know, right? Because you've talked about the course advisor, and I was here wondering who should be talking to who. I mean, if I don't know that I'm dropping, that my CGPA has really gone low, shouldn't my course advisor be calling me to let me know what's happening? Now brings me to the counselors, right? Yes. If a student is doing so badly academically, I mean, the story we have, 300 level, 400 level, and their, what's it called now, admissions withdrawn. So at the level of 200 level, when they were not still up there, is it not for the school to make the move, to call them, perhaps go speak to a counselor? Let's find out, why are you not doing well?
Well, I do not know the particular school that is involved, and there may be no need for that, okay? But then you can't conclude that the school did not do that. Yeah. You can't conclude. Like I tell you, most of these students are absentee students, okay? Sometimes some of them don't even show up until their third year. It will shock you. Some of them don't show up to come and check their
they believe their money is working for them.
Money for what?
Some of them believe that I've sent money for sorting, so that should be sorted.
It cannot be. In a decent environment, we shouldn't even be mentioning that. We shouldn't be mentioning that.
But it happens.
And of course, the students should not bank on that. The students should not bank on that. Okay, like some of them not sure, and this is what you have. that value records now. All right, students talk with their advice, or maybe it's not of the education to find out
for help students who are struggling academically. The numbers to call are 0817 0002, 0817 923 002, or 0819 001. Chooks says, good evening, students who are there to be referred to who will determine the issue with suggest mitigation measures, including extra academic assistance or coaching. You say, I must observe that the course load in Nigerian universities is beyond human capacity. I can't comprehend that a student is made to take 6 or more courses in a term or semester. All right, well, let's hear from Mr. Zion. Hello, Mr. Zion.
Yeah, thank you very much, Constance. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Go on, please.
The year one, which is the definition of term as a student, the Nigerian university have made use of tedious. All universities in Nigeria, they have made that year one so frustrating, and they don't know that that is the beginning of what will determine the progress of their students. Year one, what the school would have done is for total induction. This university, this is your dean of study. The purpose of the dean of study. These are your lecturer. This is what you should do, what you should not do. In this school, we are treated into nuclear games. These are the best you. For 1 year, that is what the university have done.
Okay, so you're saying that for year one, there shouldn't be academic activities?
No academic activities.
All right, Mr. Zion.
Academics.
All right. Sorry, I have to take another call. We have very short time. Dr. Okidim from Port Harcourt, welcome.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Go on, please.
Yes, I want to let you know that the university is not a place where you train a lower level manpower. The university is a place where you train higher level manpower who will man the. So when you start to do things like that thing you're talking about, I begin to get worried. Some students jump from SS1, register work, and they can't attend into the university. And then you haven't had a background at all. And then you begin to build a background as if you're in primary school from the university. It doesn't work like that. In some university, people are complaining like that students may are worth 1,000. That same university people have a first class, taught by the same lecturer. Now, your guest also said something. Some of the students are absentee students. You see young students in the universities having big cars, they don't care about going to school. But let me tell you, the students who are ready to learn, this university gives them best. Today university is not like the university of yesterday. I am telling you, I have taught in university for 20 years. And the level of education now that I'm talking to you is so low. It's so low because so students are not prepared to learn. They are on campus, they don't go to class.
All right.
At least 30% of the students, you have to call them and beg them to come to class.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, that's the last call I can take right now. I'm seeing a recorded program for 5:45. All right.
Please, can I quickly address
yes, I was
Mr. Zion's suggestion or opinion? I do not know where that obtains in the whole wide world. That you will take out maybe for a program of 4 years and you are doing an induction for 1 whole year, Constance. I don't know where that happens. Okay, I have said that universities have in place, an orientation program. He is talking about the universities trying to pull the student through, know your dean, know your HODs, or know your student affairs dean, and all of that. That is the orientation.
Yeah, that's what happens during orientation. Actually, I remember.
And so we do not need 1 whole year to do that.
All right.
Please, if Darren is listening to me, you can forward his number hereafter so that he will give me a typical example of where this happens in any part of the globe. Then we can begin to consider that, but it doesn't happen anywhere, to the best of my knowledge.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ben Nyewusira, lecturer from the Education Foundations Department, UNIPORT. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Hello and welcome to yet another fantastic, wealthy time on your radio. I am Gabriella, welcoming you to Real Estate on Radio with Ori Martins. It's always a pleasure having you in the studio, Mr.